financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic, the student loan problem, what to do. This is a massive problem. Pat Samasker, good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Ken.
Jeffrey Kirshner.
Nice to be here, thank you.
Brian Small.
Always a pleasure, and I think you got the title wrong. I think it
Correct
should
it.
be the student loan crisis.
You're
It's
probably,
not a problem.
I think
It's-
I agree
it's,
with
It's
you.
well beyond a problem.
Dave, rename the show, start it all over. It's the student loan crisis. But I agree with you. Okay, let's put it in perspective. In fact, a couple recent articles. Nearly 5 million Americans in default on their student loans. This was December 13th in the Wall Street Journal. 5 million. 4.6 million in the third quarter, doubling from 4 years ago, despite the long stretch of U.S. job creation.
Well, that's right there. That's a misnomer. The job creation. It's job creation at lower wages than people were
Absolutely.
or should have been making, and therefore, being able to afford your loan is nearly impossible.
When no
People-
one's going to be mechanics, so there isn't any mechanics out there anymore, but everyone has college degrees that they can't use.
It's like lawyers. The starting lawyer for a salary when I got out of law school in 1982 versus the starting salary for a lawyer now is close to being the same.
We
But
can
not just that, but the expenses have gone up
dramatically.
tenfold in terms of what it costs
hundredfold.
for undergrad or for professional school.
Defaulted borrowers represent 22% of Americans who are required to be paying down their student loans. The figure has increased 17% in 4 years. Now, this is what I think is somewhat hysterical but sad. Another article about the Trump administration looks beyond traditional servicing for student lending help. This was same thing, November 29th. The article goes on to say is that there's a new guy, Mr. Johnson, who's in charge of trying to come up with a better servicing program for student loans, and they're putting it out to bid. And who are going to be the potential new servicers? Wall Street titans like Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, credit card companies Visa, American Express, Amazon.
Wait, can I?
These companies are
except-
now going to take over servicing the student loans.
Except for
potentially.
Amazon, that probably could do it right. Aren't these all the companies that created the financial crisis in 08 and 09 in the first place?
And they got bailed out too, right?
And not only that,
and then we bailed them
they
out.
also
That's right.
got sanctioned and penalized for how they handled the loan modification program because they couldn't handle the modification process.
Don't worry, it'll never happen again.
This is the best thing.
It'll never happen again.
No, that's what
a
they
good-
keep telling us.
That's
It'll
a
never
good one. I
happen
like
again.
Famous
that.
last
It'll never
words.
happen.
How are they going to solve the problem? It says they're going to design a smartphone app tracking down delinquent borrowers, processing data, and analyzing repayment trends. And what's the goal? It makes sense to survey the landscape for new ideas and technology that could help simplify today's overly complex design and lead to better borrower outcomes. Well, what's the outcome they're talking about?
Getting
Paying back
paid.
the
Getting
loan.
paid. Where in this article was there anything about helping people with a student loan problem?
See, but that's
Nothing.
There is no point. There is no help for the people that have the student loan problem coming from the government side right now. Not in this government. Not with this
All right.
administration. It's
All right.
not going to happen.
You got $1.45 million in trillion in student loan debt. 44.2 million Americans have student loan debt. The average monthly payment on student loans is $351. Seniors are taking on more student loan debt. Ages 60 and older, they've quadrupled over the last decade to 6.4%. Average amount that they owe is
Ken,
$23,100.
I was asked to do an article about seniors and student debt. Is it their own debt, or they're signing on to their kids
Both.
and grandkids'
It's
debt?
both.
I would bet it's
Most
the
of-
kids
most
and
of
grandkids.
it is
It's gotta be more
guaranteed
kids.
debt.
I mean, more of it's
Grandma,
kids' debts these
grandpa.
days.
will you help me
Right.
co-sign my student loan? I promise to
Right.
pay it when I get out of school.
Don't
But
do
what's
it.
so what's the big deal? Discharge it in bankruptcy.
Can't.
You can't discharge.
I know how
student
they can
loans in
get paid.
bankruptcy.
When they find that Apple app to track it, if they're delinquent, shut off their phone. Everyone would
There
pay
you go.
that debt. Everyone paid it.
Probably not a bad idea.
Think about it. You
how
heard
about-
it here first on Law and Reality.
let-
Shut
This
off
is
the
Pat
phone.
Simasco's solution. Shut off the phone.
Let's compare something though. Just you gave some really
Change your phone number.
staggering numbers out there. You said $1.45 trillion worth of student loan debt, with 44.2 million Americans having student loan debt. How much credit card debt exists out there by comparison?
About 900 million.
And that's
Last
with-
I
Million or
and-
billion?
I keep giving my
900
billions and millions.
Bil-
Billion.
billion.
Yeah. 900
What's the
billion.
US?
900 million is a drop in the bucket.
No.
900 billion,
Billion.
but that's only 80% compared to student loan debt.
What's the
Actually,
U.S.
70%.
debt right now?
And wait, hang on a
20
second.
trillion.
But the
If you think about that, 20 trillion for the whole country, and we got 1.45 trillion in student
It's
loan debt.
crazy.
That's crazy.
and on top of that, you've got the student loans. You've got credit card holders. There's over 100 million people with credit card debt.
but they can discharge it in bankruptcy.
They can. The massive amount of student loan debt for a smaller portion of the population is at 1.45. In 2007, it was at 700 billion. At that rate, 2027, it'll be $3 trillion.
So here's the issue, and we're gonna when we come back, we're gonna talk about how do we avoid the problem and how do we solve the problem. But the big problem is all these private lenders are more than happy to loan people money for student loans because they're non-dischargeable in bankruptcy. Mom and dad guarantee them, grandma and grandpa guarantee them. They can actually go after their Social Security in that circumstance if they're not repaid. It's an enormous problem because of the non-dischargeability in bankruptcy, and the lenders are more than happy to loan the money because they know they've got you on the hook
Forever.
and you can't get out.
Forever.
So the question is, what do we do about it?
Well, there's two ways. to
People
deal with
still
student
want to go to
loans.
college.
You either pay them or you die.
Well, dying doesn't always solve the problem. If you have money in your estate, they can file a claim against the estate.
We can fix that.
But it's not your problem if you're dead.
That's
It's
right.
the-
It's your estate's
We need
problem.
to find some solutions.
All right,
Or it's
we'll take a
grandma's,
break. When we
yeah.
come back, we're going to talk about solutions.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Simasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Simasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we know we have this massive student loan problem, and we know it's non-dischargeable in bankruptcy. How do we avoid the problem? What do we do?
Don't borrow the money?
What about federal loans versus private loans? Does that matter?
Okay, so yes, it does. So when you're looking at private loans, all the programs that exist to help you when you get out of school, if you're not making enough money to pay back those private loans, if you contact the private loan lender, they'll tell you, here's all the programs. There are no programs. Pay or die. Those are your solutions with private student loans.
You got to think about death this week or
I'm
something?
telling you that's it. There are no
Pay.
solutions.
Let's not talk about death.
Well, that's the only other way to get out of your student loan when
Okay.
it's a private student loan.
Okay.
Federally backed student loans, however, have numerous solutions.
Like what?
Well, there's we'll put it under the umbrella of income-based repayment programs. What they do is if you get out of school, and let's just say your student loan payment's $500 a month, but you're making $35,000 a year and you've got, you got to pay your rent. Well, there isn't $500 a month in that budget to pay the student loan. They look at what you're making and figure out what your disposable income is, and after that, and so they apply a whole bunch of government standards. And if you're making $35,000 a year and you owe $50,000 in student loans, or $30,000 or $100,000, doesn't make a difference. You might only have to pay back $5 a month.
All right, so your payments based upon your income.
Yes.
And then is there a
And then you will
forgiveness
pay until you die.
At a certain point, does it end?
Well, it does. These programs, you reapply every single year. So as your income goes up, you're going to pay more. That's why it's called the income-based
Is there a forgiveness
repayment.
at the end? So
25 years of payment on the standard program, then they forgive the remaining student loan debt, period. 10 years for forgiveness if you're working in some of the nonprofit programs.
All right, so there are opportunities there, and here's the point: the federal loans have relief for you, so you're not in the position where the private lender is saying you've got to pay. The problem is, though, you can't borrow. If college is running with room and board, and you want to live away at a four-year university, it's running $20,000 a year, sometimes more. That's in-state. You can't borrow $20,000 a year on federal loans.
Currently, I will tell you, it's $24,000 a year at
Okay,
one of our finer
so he knows
institutions.
from his kids. All right, so $24,000 a year, but you can only borrow what, $6,000 a year on federal loans.
Yes, there's very limited.
So how do you manage the rest? You go and get the private student loans,
Well, I don't think so.
and then you end up with the same problem.
I think that there's other opportunities right now, and we have to break out of the traditional
Well, what
thought
are they?
process.
Like community college? Here's my thoughts. Community college.
I went to a community college, got all my core classes, and then went to Wayne State. But now
then-
everybody wants to go away to school.
Right.
Everybody.
Go to a community college, stay local, don't go away to school, stay home for the 2 or 4 years. Go to
Bug
night
your
school.
parents. They'll do your laundry. They'll cook for you.
Take the 8-year program, not the 4-year program.
There's even opportunities when you're in high school. Kids are starting to take college courses at Wayne County or at Oakland County Community College. While you are a student in high school, you can take some of these courses.
And they're free because they're covered by your tax dollars. Pay for those courses while you're in high school.
Here's the key point, I think. You have to rethink the process of the education. You want the college education, I agree with that, but you want to do it in a way that's not going to leave you in debt at the end of the day. And mom and dad who are guaranteeing those loans, like Brian always says, if mom and dad plan on paying the loans and have that in their budget, that's okay. But if they're guaranteeing the loans, this is grandma and grandpa too, with the expectation that their child's going to pay them back, and their private student loans,
Mom and Dad will be disappointed.
because you're going to get out of school making $30,000 a year, you're going to get married, you're going to want to buy a house, you're going to be renting an apartment, you're going to have a car payment. How are you going to pay $800 a month on a student loan payment? It doesn't happen.
Hey, I have to say one too, as the elder law guy, if grandma and grandpa plan on giving the grandkids money for college, that's a gift for Medicaid purposes, and you have to stay out of the nursing home for the next 5 years.
So you be very cautious about
big
that.
deal.
So I think two things. One is we were always ingrained when we were in college that you go 4 years. That's what you do. In and out 4 years. Spread it out. That's number one. Number two,
Work.
we've had discussions about this before, are trade schools, which are less expensive to go to, that you can get into equally high-paying
They
jobs.
can't find trades now. They can't find
Yeah,
the
I got a
to
buddy
work.
of mine who's in commercial HVAC. It says it's impossible to
Possible.
find people, and they're paying great money. These guys
I got
make
another
$100,000
another one
a year.
for you. Military. Go into the military, you get the GI Bill. There's the Montgomery GI Bill, pays you up to $50,000 towards college. There's the post 9/11 GI Bill, which adds additional benefits to you. There's college fund programs for the military that allows each military service to identify their own terms on a college fund, and they also have the ability to repay your loans under the loan repayment programs. If you put up on the screen the websites to explore that on the GI Bill. Military service is a smart solution, and if you want to go on to graduate school, it's even better. You have to then stay in the military and give back some time, but you walk out without the debt.
Here's a question, though. It seems nowadays the kids, it's expected that the parents are going to be providing them the college and all that type of. When do you start having the conversation with your kids that, hey, we can't afford this, college is going to be so expensive? You got to start at 8, 9, 10th grade.
When they're
11th
young,
grade.
so
Yeah.
they don't have any
They gotta have
disappointing
a vested
expectations.
interest
They
in
need
that
to know they have to
conversation.
earn that right
Yeah.
to get to college.
And the kids
pay for
that
it.
I want to address the kids who are athletes. It's so hard to get a Division I scholarship. There's nothing wrong with going to a Division II or a Division III school that offer money for your.
You're not
athletic
going to be a
purposes.
pro.
No.
You
Yeah,
just want
think
your
about what
college.
your goal is. Your goal to get the education, or is it to be on to
A party
start,
school.
or is it to be the NFL star of the
Right.
for the next 20 years? There are a few stars out there, but the vast majority, if you can get your college paid for as a result of your athletic skills, you have done a marvelous job. And yeah, I would think go to the smaller Division II, have your college paid for. I think the other saying is if you are truly a star, they will find you. But here's the point. You need to plan. You need to think the thing through. Don't let the old rules apply. Think positive.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
Let's do announcements. I want to remind you to listen to us Tuesdays 11:30 a.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m. for Law and Reality Live on Praise 102.7. Then on Thursdays from 3 to 4, Law and Reality Now with Cliff Russell on 9:10 a.m. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Free $50 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and copy of Dump Your Debt. Go to the websites lawandreality.com or thavgross.com. We have seminars coming up on Wednesday, January 17th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. The Debt Fix is in for this year. We're going to walk through all the systems and methods and ways in which we go about solving debt problems from the standpoint of eliminating debt so that you can start saving that money for future retirement. If you're paying $400 or $500 a month, $300-400 a month on your credit cards, imagine if you can stop making those payments on the credit cards and instead put that money into the bank and start saving it. Over 10, 20 years, you have a boatload of money to retire with. The alternative is you keep paying the credit cards, you get to 65, 70, and you have no retirement, you're still making a mortgage payment, and you're living on Social Security and you can't make ends meet. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Jeff Kirshner will also talk about disability. Brian's going to walk us through all the systems that we use with the tools of financial crisis management to eliminate and modify debt. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Then on Wednesday, January 31, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we have an estate planning seminar, Elimination of the Estate Plan Procrastinator. This is a seminar designed to address the problems of New Year's resolutions. Everyone says, I'm going to do estate plans, then they never get around to doing it, and before you know, it's September. You want to attend this seminar, you'll go through all the methods that we use and systems and the essential elements of an estate plan, powers of attorney for health care, durable power of attorney, estates and wills, how to avoid major mistakes in an estate plan. Attendees get a gold certificate worth $300 off of an estate plan. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Remember, you're always entitled to come in for a free consultation at Thav Gross. You can also meet with Pat Samasco on elder law, Medicaid issues, Jeff Kirshner on workers' comp, disability, Brian on financial matters, Jenny on tax matters, myself on business matters. Just go to the websites to request a free consult or call anytime the office, 888-235-HELP. Be sure and check out the websites. There's a new report on how to save your home from foreclosure, along with retirement report by Pat Samasco on Social Security, and also a report on how to start a new business and find financing sources for the business. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we've looked at the scope of the student loan problem. We've said, how do you maybe avoid it, reprogramming the way you go about going to school. But let's suppose you've gone to school. You now have $80,000, $90,000, $60,000, $70,000, $200,000 of student loan debt, private lenders, and they're coming after you. You're saying there's no solution other than dying.
There is actually one additional solution.
What can we do?
Well, one of the things is that I believe is it's down the road somewhere, some point, the government is going to have to give you student loan relief. Real, honest to God, student loan relief.
Yeah, because the problem will just keep growing to the point where it explodes, just like the real estate bubble.
So when that happens, you just have to be ready for it. So how do you get there? Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which we've talked about before, allows you to pay to your creditors what you can afford after you live, eat, breathe, and sleep.
Wait, you told me we can't discharge.
We're not discharging the student loan. We are pushing the can, kicking the can down the road. By paying what you can afford, when the student loan lender says you owe me $800 a month and all you've got is $200 a month to pay with, Chapter 13 lets you pay $200 a month.
All right, so let me see if I'm understanding you. My monthly payment on my student loan is $800 a month, and I'm 3 years behind. And now they're And now they're suing me.
They have to sue you though, right? They have to get a judgment and start collecting.
Then they're suing me. And now they're going to garnish my wages.
25% of your net take-home pay.
Okay, I file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. What happens?
It controls what you pay.
How much am I going to have to pay them?
What you can afford.
Well, how much am I going to be able to afford? I'm making $60,000 a year. I've got
The
a family of
probability
4.
is
I can't afford. You want to know how much I can afford to pay
Nothing.
them? Nothing.
Well,
That's how much I can afford.
Yeah, well, the reality is you're going to afford something.
How much?
If we can put you into a program that pays $150, $200 a month instead of $800 to $1,000.
I could probably manage, but I'll tell you, on $60,000 a month, I also have $60,000 of credit card debt.
Well, we'll also take care of your.
And I have medical bills.
Well, those will all disappear in the
I'm
Chapter
just a
13.
normal American.
Those will all
trying to
disappear.
make ends meet.
You'll get a discharge of the credit card debt and of the medical bills, but the student loan will survive.
So how much will I have to pay? $50, $100 a month on it? Maybe less?
We'll figure out what you have to pay back. when
Okay,
you
so
come in.
that saves me for 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, end of the 5 years, or if any time during the 5 years, the government comes up with a program for relief from student loan debt,
And we'll seek it.
or they'll seek it. And if at the end of the 5 years, the same administration is still coming up with solutions like fancy apps in order to immediately take the money out of my bank account for my student loan, I can just do what?
File another Chapter 13.
Oh,
You
you
can
mean you can
keep
file? You
going.
can keep doing it?
You're not seeking a discharge. You're seeking to control the debt, and that allows you to do that. Another thing, though, there's other programs. There's a lot of people out there that don't realize that if you're disabled and you have filed
Speaking of disability,
a student,
we have a
Saying I'm
disability
disabled, or
expert.
okay.
if
Throw 'em
you
down the
have,
steps.
if
So you don't have to
have-
die. We just have to throw you down the steps.
If you have,
And you not be able to work for at least 12 months, right?
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm sorry,
I
Michael.
got to jump in here. My wife is the biggest liberal in the world, and for 364 days a year, she goes, I can't believe we should have free health care, student loan forgiveness, everybody goes to college for free, and on the day that I have to pay my taxes, she goes, why is my taxes too high? I said, you can't have it both ways. You either have to have a lot of taxes, or you got to have
I tend to be the same way.
yeah.
Social Security, disability,
But the other
if you're on
364
it,
days rules.
allows you, and you're totally and permanently disabled, allows you to discharge outside of bankruptcy student loans.
So yeah, so and the same thing with that program. I think it's the TPD program. Is if as a vet, if you're
As a veteran.
determined to be disabled
Correct.
as well.
Correct. And those policies that take a lot of time. For the VA disability, that takes a while because what they do is they play games. They find you to be 20% disabled, then you've got to go through a layer of appeals, then they'll find you 40%, and you have to keep jumping
But
up
if
the
it's
chain.
SSD,
And then SSD, though,
you've documented it at that
Do you
point.
do veteran
Correct.
appeals too?
I have done some in the past, kind of going away. It is a very complicated,
Yeah.
difficult system at this point.
So at least there's a solution there in that situation. I mean, think of how unfortunate. Of course, you're disabled. How are you going to make the payments on the student loans anyway? Bad situation. But here's the point. Chapter 13 is an available solution to control the student debt until we get a government-based solution. Eventually, it's going to come. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.